And we should now be live. Good evening, everyone. Just going to double check everything is working appropriately. It seems to be. Hello, King Giga. Hello, Berenson. My day has been nice and lazy today. I've had a sort of recharge day from all the... I'm not going to say stress, but, you know, the busyness of having Fallout here and such. Hello, the monster. We can hear you loud and clear. Excellent. So today I'm going to get started on the next enclosure. This one being for the Indoraptor. Now I was going to put it over here, but having had a look at this build, I've decided I'm going to put the Indoraptor over here. Just because I want to try and keep everything... I want to try and avoid using this bit over here if I can. And we already have sort of, you know, the fencing and stuff put in here already, so I just think that this will work better. What I am going to do, though, is think about how I want this laid out. Hello, Nicholas. Yes, I have seen the, you know, just because I haven't done a video on it, I have seen all the database stuff, don't worry. So I think that's going to be our rough Indoraptor sort of enclosure. We'll have a... I want to kind of have a sort of a two-section enclosure. Just to make the Indoraptor feel a little bit more dangerous. You're mostly done with your Cenozoic bug. Yes, in the next few weeks I need to get the park tours done for some of my parks that are now finished. Yes, I have heard there's only going to be 5 semi-aquatics. Well, that's not really true, is it? There's only going to be 5 swimming animals at launch. Which, it doesn't surprise me, if I'm brutally honest. I didn't expect that we would get a ton of swimming dinosaurs straight away. Just because of the, you know, the difficulty in doing it animation-wise. I suspected we weren't going to have a million, you know, I didn't think every single species was going to be able to swim. I think people who expected more than what we are getting kind of set themselves up to be disappointed. I do think 5 is a bit surprising. I think at least 10 on launch would have been fine. 5 is very low, but I didn't think it was going to be ever going to be a huge number. Yeah, I do agree with you, Jowl, that it feels like a not necessarily incomplete feature, but a feature that's very bare bones on launch yet again. And I'm just reminded of, as you say, the lagoons for Jurassic World Evolution 2 and how extraordinarily bare bones the lagoons were. Okay, so here's the plan. This is kind of like going to be a separate area from the enclosure, which is going to be over here. We're going to make it sort of much higher security because I want to lean into the whole Indoraptor is actually dangerous thing, you know. Actually, before I do that, it's probably going to be a good idea to actually up to that, put in the secondary fence layer. So I want to use this stuff. It's going to have to go in from the other side. That's not straight. Really? Hello, Chad. I'm doing okay today. How are you doing? Why is that still not... Let's try that again. I suspect Novosaurus will not be semi-aquatic. Just primarily because it's not really... Something I've noticed about all the swimming stuff we've seen is they all swim on the surface. None of them actually go under the water line. So I suspect Novosaurus will not be a deep water animal for that very reason, because obviously it would be it would kind of be too small. Plus, if they were doing that, they would have to give it a full suite of like land walking around animations, which would take time. It's going to be it's much more efficient to just keep it as a lagoon animal. Okay, so this is like, I want multiple layers of fencing just to sort of make the thing feel secure. It's Indoraptor, you know, it's supposed to be dangerous. So we want the place to feel protected. Now, between the two layers, because I don't like how sort of aggressive it looks, we are going to put in bushes. Just to kind of help it feel a bit less, you know, horribly fenced and prison-y. We want it to look nice for the guests, you know. Alright, let me just catch up with chat here. Oh, what's low health now? Ankylodocus? What's your problem? Food? You're literally eating. That was weird. Anyway, carrying on. Also, when it comes to crocodiles, wouldn't they also need diving for them? Well, potentially. But then crocodiles and alligators tend to spend a lot of time swimming around on the surface. They only tend to sort of completely cover themselves up when they're hunting. So I don't know. I think you could get around it, I think, potentially. And I'm doing good, yes, Chad. Okay, so what we're going to do then is go out from here. That's going to be... That's facing the wrong way. Whoops. Actually, I want it to be 2 gates. So let's put in... There'll be one there. And one there. So... that just gives me my spacing. There's the first layer. Ah. Gonna have to do some more framework pieces here. And probably turn clipping off. Yep, that's fine. And then we'll go from there. Oh, wrong way again. There to there. There to there. So that gives us a dividing wall between the two paddocks. Then we'll put in our gates. And then we'll put in now 8 walls. And then same thing, we'll put in a line of hedge. Oh, this one on this side is facing the wrong direction. That's one criticism I do have about Kyodenic's fence mod, is that I wish you could more easily decide which side the angling is occurring on some of these fences. There we go. It would be cool if different depths of water in each semi-aquatic species. You see, that's adding too much complexity where it isn't needed, Chad. In that, if you were going to do that, then in that case, there's no point having lagoons. I personally am perfectly happy with there being 2 depths of water. It's the interactivity between the 2 depths of water that I want to see in gameplay working. Like, I want to see how fundamentally having deep water changes how we do enclosures and such. Well, Nigersaurus has already basically been cut. We're pretty convinced it's been cut because of something that has been... It was in Evo's comment section to the video that she made. Someone noted that there'd be no way of Nigersaurus or Amargasaurus being able to wade as an adult because they'd be too low. So that video has basically confirmed that Niger and Amarga have been cut, which I think is absolutely awful. But unfortunately, that's just what they've done. Okay. And then, so I kind of want the enclosure frontage to be angled. Probably from, I would say, about here. Yeah, so this, let's drag this back a bit. And let's go with, say, a bit there, and then straight across, and then to there. So there's our Indoraptor enclosure, essentially. We're going to directly connect it to that. Put in the rest of the fence. That. And then that can go. Oops. That. And then we can put in bushes again. Maybe this one's a little bit wider to make some use of the space. There we go. And then what we'll do is we'll have sort of a guest zone. Probably... I'm not even thinking we'll have viewing galleries. What I'm thinking that we'll do is we'll have a viewing dome or viewing log in the enclosure. That feels safer than having a gap in the fence. So actually, we'll do this around the entire thing. I don't think we've used a viewing log in this. I think we've used one viewing log in this park. Oh, now what's dying? Oh, it's a good old Tapejara. Let me guess. Stuck in mid-place? Stuck in mid-air? Yeah. I hope they fix that in JWE3. Oh, hello, Evo. Oh, now what's dying? Oh, I feel right at home. Yes. For something is always dying. If aviary species get stuck in place in Jurassic World Evolution 3, I will... There will be stern words of a dissatisfied nature said. Know what? I'm thinking. I kind of want to do like a low area of terrain here. Let's go for maximum safety and security. For a safe and secure galaxy. And let's have, you know, solid walls around here too. We are determined that this Indoraptor is not going to escape. Now, how deep must it be? I'm gonna have to go deeper. But as the Ocean Gate submarine disaster showed us, depth is not a problem. I just want to hide the two ends of the log in the terrain. I'm gonna have to go deeper, that's what she said. Indeed. And yes, let's not do full caps in the chat, please. It is rude. Okay. So this is kind of where I want the gallery to be, kind of here. So if I want it to be into the terrain kind of has to be there, and kind of has to be there. Can Indoraptor go under logs? It's probably worthwhile checking that out. I mean, I don't see why not. Let's just put one in and see what happens. No, you are not permitted. You're not permitted to do any of that stuff. I want you to walk around the... I want to see if you can walk under the logs. Just put some water here. Let's just move you over here. Can you run under the log? Because I don't see why they can't. Gotta love that dynamic behavior there, waiting for the animation to play. Oh, hang on. Are the demented, useless dinosaur weapons going to do it? Yes, they can. Right, excellent. To the Boar Collective with you both. Right. Concept has been proven. So what I'm going to do is just sort of give them a bit of a sort of mountainy bit. We'll make that look better with terrain decoration after. I suspect that when Evolution 3 does come out, I'm going to miss not having 1,000,001 rocks forming everywhere. But that's if I get it, of course. I really am still not convinced. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Right. Slightly culturally insensitive depiction of Mario. I do want to give them just a little bit more height. That's fine. Create some penis shapes. Right. Yes, about there. That is acceptable. Right. Nice. That'll do. What do you say? Hello, Symbio Text Spidey. Is it okay if I just call you Symbio? Hello, T-Bird. No, don't worry. Yeah, no, conversation on Reddit was perfectly civil and stuff. I didn't get any aggressiveness or anything from you, so don't worry. No harm done. I was sold when they announced Psittacosaurus River Cruise on hot air balloon tours. See, I'm not, but that's potentially because I play Jurassic Park Operation Genesis so much. So to me, seeing the hot air balloon, it was like, oh, that's nice. Nice that you finally caught up. So I'll be honest, the hot air balloon tour ride didn't really impress me. It's just, you know, you finally gotten to matching that standard. The boat tour ride, I don't know why it took them so long. And I'm still a little miffed that it looks like the lagoons have gotten absolutely nothing. And it is the lagoons and the fact that they appear to be shafted again that's kind of making me go, I'm not sure I want to play a game where the lagoons once again feel like an Arthur Fort feature. And as nice as baby dinosaurs make, you know, good YouTube videos, a good park management game doth they not make. And that for me is the big problem with Jurassic World Evolution 3. Is that to me, it's the management side of the game that needs the most amount of work. And it doesn't appear like they've actually done anything with that. At least, not that they've been willing to show off. And if the game's management side, if the actual, like, gameplay is just as bad as Evolution 2's, with the annoying scientist system that has been badly implemented without any thought whatsoever, then I'm not really sure I want to play it again. The modular building is fine, but again, where is the management that I'm interested in? And it doesn't feel like the game has done anything with that aspect, so... I also think that some of the roster cutting makes absolutely no sense. Like, Archaeornithomimus? What are we losing for Archaeornithomimus? What are we losing for Chasmo? I mean, I personally, I like Chasmo. It's one of my favorite ceratopsians to use in this game. But I thought the Chasmosaurus was what the Lokiceratops was replacing. But now we have Lokiceratops and Chasmosaurus. And that seems to be very silly, because most people I've spoken to about this game over the years don't use Chasmosaurus all that often. And now we have something that is genuinely better than Chasmosaurus. So why would they use Chasmosaurus? I'm a bit confused about the use of Chasmo in this circumstance. Same as I don't understand why we have Chunking and Gigant Spino. Because if we then don't have Hwango, that seems a bit peculiar to me. Because surely we only need one of these stegosaurs. We don't need three, or two of them, surely. But if you have two and not three, then the question becomes, why did you keep Gigant Spino? No, the community doesn't seem to care about the management side, which has always been a particular bugbear of mine, because Frontier keep on with this. I'm not going to call it a lie, but this kind of they kind of deceive themselves into thinking that, oh, Jurassic World Evolution games are management games. And it's like, well, they're not really, because you don't care about the management side, and your player base clearly doesn't care about the management side, because no one in the player base complains about your lack of management, apart from a few select people. Just admit that they're not management games. If they didn't call them management games, I wouldn't have a go at them for not having good management. Just admit they're not management games. Just call them Baby's First Zoo Tycoon, and I would be fine. I don't really like having all those bushes there, to be honest. I don't know if I like that or not. I've decided I don't. At least, not around here. I'm okay with it around the concrete, but not around the mountains. Doesn't need it. That's better. Do they call it? Well, that's what they call it on Steam. Like, if I bring up Steam, go to the store page for Jurassic World Evolution 2.
Peggy 16.
Oops. Yes. I mean, in the description tab, they call it they say themselves, This bold new era in the Jurassic World Evolution game franchise builds upon the groundbreaking and immersive 2018 management simulation. They call it a management simulation. Yeah, sorry for the jump scare. Peggy 16. Yeah, sorry. That's the Jurassic World Evolution 2 gameplay trailer that automatically plays on Steam, which I'm more than okay with. Well, you see, Symbio, that's fine, but some of us want an experience with more management, because at the moment, these games have no management at all. Like, I wouldn't call any part of what they have management. I mean, you can call it management light. I would say it's management alcohol free, to use a analogy. There's so little management in these games. Like we don't even get the option to determine how much we charge people to enter the park, for heaven's sake. I mean, it's such a basic management feature. And I understand why, because Frontier are scared of scaring away the children that make up a majority of their player base for these games, because the Jurassic World franchise has been turned into a kids franchise through, well, awful films and Camp Cretaceous. I just think there's room to have, you know, I think you can have more management and it still be better than no management. You just have to be willing to put the effort in to make the systems balanced and fair and easy to use. So I'm going to put... I don't want the water to be too heavy under there. Maybe I do. I mean, when you make games with poor management, I'm not surprised when the community you create also won't care. Well, that's a good point. So, like, if the game's management is already bad, then people in the community aren't going to want you to put management in there because you've proven that you can't do it. But then that feeds into the question of what do you think these games should be? Which is something I've been thinking about more and more, especially with all the news for Evolution 3 and the sort of ongoing, I want to say argument, but it's not really an argument. It's a bunch of children being silly about canon and canonicity being ultra important versus it not being important. Because I think this points to a sort of wider question within the fan base of these games, which is, what do you think, or what are these games even supposed to be in the first place? Are these just the sort of thing that you used to get in the 2000s and 90s, where a movie comes out and you have an awfully generic run-of-the-mill video game that comes out with them in order to just get a little bit more money off of the movie, and the franchise, and that the games are half-assed, but no one really cares because at the end of the day, they were never going to be good games in the first place because they were just, you know, cheap tie-in game things? Or are these games supposed to be actually carefully constructed, thought about, well-made? I want to say professional, but that's probably not the word I mean. But, you know, games made with more care that are not supposed to be just generic tie-in games. Because I think the answer to that determines what you think about Evolution as a franchise. If you think they're just generic tie-in games, you're obviously going to have a very different opinion to someone who thinks they're supposed to be more serious, better constructed products. People take the whole canon thing way too seriously. Yes, Segisaurus is a good example of the whole, these games are just supposed to be Jurassic games, and that's all they're supposed to be. You know, they're just a way of getting more money out of the franchise, which I never personally believed. I think games that, well, I don't think any game based on a franchise has ever been like that. And those that were so demanding of Segisaurus, like, if you're not putting Microceratus and Segisaurus in every one of your parks, shut up complaining about it being called lackluster and a poor animal to have. If you're not using it in every build, bugger off. I don't want to hear about how being a canon animal is so important. Okay, I'm hoping they can still walk under that. I think they should be able to. People blame Universal, but it was Universal's fault for the disasters. Yeah, see, I think people blame Universal too much for some of what we've had to put up with the Evolution franchise. I think they see Universal as a convenient scapegoat, and unfortunately I just don't think that's true. You know, I don't think Universal are the people that are telling them, you know, don't optimize the game. Rushing the game, perhaps. But Jurassic World Evolution 1, Jurassic World Evolution 2, Planet Coaster 2, Planet Zoo all had the same length of development cycle. About 2 years. 2 years is standard for a Frontier game. So it's I don't think we can even really call it rushed if they've been in development for that length of time. Going to put the line of invisible fencing in so I know where the animals will not be able to go. These hedges should stop them, right? So I don't think I need to worry about that. I think they've got a reasonable amount of space. I'm only going to have 2 Indoraptors in here. So I think that's a reasonable amount of space for 2 Indoraptors, personally. to also give this place a kind of some theming. Let's go. Epic. Bit, they're all a bit big. Well, you will use these. Yeah, a lot of canon animals are very redundant. I mean, I blame Dominion mostly for the whole problem of canonicity and the animals that they introduced into canon. Dominion had so many animals that were just pointless. It was a bloated cast of animals, but because they're all now canon, that sort of bloat has now affected the game. So I do blame Dominion quite a bit for that. I mean, I blame Dominion for a lot of things, but the bloating of the canon cast, that is certainly one of them. Pillar there. So one of these kind of like. There. I'm gonna have one of these kind of here. And this guy, just gonna have in the water kind of here. Yeah. If you are forced to watch either Dominion or Dominion. Dominion, without a doubt. Dominion is an absolute shitfest. I can't. Dominion is a shitfest. Rebirth is worse. In my opinion, Rebirth is worse in almost every single way. I even hate the characters less in Dominion than I ever did Rebirth. Like, I hated Claire Deering, but Scarlett Johansson's character, what is it, Zora? We have a saying in the United Kingdom. I wouldn't piss on her if she was on fire. That just says how much I dislike Zora's character. That's not me saying Scarlett Johansson. I'm saying she probably did their best with the character she was given, but whoever wrote the character of Zora clearly had no idea about how to make a character likable, because she's a complete cow the whole way through. I really don't like her at all. The fact that we're supposed to sort of consider her a good guy, like, I cannot consider her a good character at all. She's evil. She's a bad character. This is what happens when you mention Rebirth to me. Evil. I just cannot like her. Like, there's only one character in that film that I thought was well characterized, well acted, and a character that I could actually see myself liking, and that was Kincaid. All the rest of them, they can sod off and die. And Mr. Loomis especially. The minute you start spouting absolute nonsense science, no thank you. Sod off. No, the family was a massive waste of space. God. I wanted to... It's another one of my favourite sayings here. From one of my favourite shows. I wanted to roll up a piece of newspaper into a fine point, sprinkle it with lemon juice, and stab it in the eye of... Xavier. That's how much I wanted to harm him. I could not stand his character. I hated Xavier. The minute he came on screen, I was like, oh God. I knew exactly the sort of character he was the minute he came on screen, and I was completely right. If I had been the father, I would have been like, you are not seeing this boy. This boy is banned from the house. You're grounded. You're never dating again until you can prove to me that you are responsible in who you pick to go out with. Like, this boy would never be allowed anywhere near my fucking boat if I had a boat. I would have found a convenient moment to push him off. Oh no, he's been eaten by the mosasaur. What a shame. Anyway. Hello, Marconian. Are you hungry? Have you not had your have a Snickers? I have just finished dinner, actually. I had chicken Kievs for dinner. I do like a good chicken Kiev. One of my favorite things to eat as a kid. Still one of my favorites now as an adult. I would have left him in the middle of the ocean. I would have shot him. I would have helped the mosasaur. Oh, you love listening to me rant, she. Well, thank you. Also, can I just... now you've got me started, so you know, you'll have to put up with it. But can I just say how utterly ridiculous it was that he decided to aim the boat for the rocks instead of, I don't know, pointing the boat at the really soft sandy beach, which you could have just beached the boat on and it would have just slithered to a stop perfectly satisfactorily. Why did you aim the boat for the rocks? Also, why did they all jump off the boat? Like, Kincaid was fine on the boat. Why did they all just leap off? We're just gonna dive into this dinosaur-infested water for no reason. Just stupid decisions. Rebirth only occurs as a movie because everyone in it is just so fucking stupid. The entire setup is just moronic. We're going to a place where every single country on Earth has decided is too dangerous to go to. But they don't patrol it. There's not a single security craft anywhere. They've gotten everyone to promise, even Russia and China and North Korea to promise, pinky swear, we will not go to this island full of dinosaurs. We absolutely promise not to. They've got America to promise not to go to this island to see if there's oil there. They've got every country on Earth to agree not to go to this planet. Every country on this planet couldn't organize a piss up in a brewery, let alone something as significant as you're not allowed to go here. Oh, it's just so fucking stupid. Exactly, they got the British to promise not to colonize the place. Happy thoughts, Fletcher. Happy thoughts. Also, I know this is going to sound really fucked up, but curing heart disease is such a nothing cure. It's such a nothing disease to go and cure. Like they haven't even gone to the typical we're going to cure cancer with dinosaur blood. No, it's heart disease. Heart disease. Whose most typical causes are people with obesity and people who smoke and people who do drugs and people who don't exercise enough. They're the most common forms of heart disease, is through people giving it to themselves through bad lifestyle choices. And I'm like, mate, you could probably reduce heart disease by just having a campaign of let's make Americans eat better and let's get all of the shit, terrible stuff out of our food. That would be better for your curing heart disease and would probably cost a lot less money than paying Zora £10 billion to conveniently forget her ethics. And please, this American company just wants the cure to heart disease. Right, yes, okay. Because, like, the everyday person is going to get their hands on that. The fact that Zora had to be told, you know, we could just give the cure to everyone, and she act like it's such a amazing thing to be told. Like, bitch, please. You were perfectly willing to not go until he mentioned £10 million, and then you decided to go because money. Just as corrupt as the flipping Big Pharma guy, who we knew was going to be a bad guy from the start. Aggressively places foliage, indeed. Just... Dominion was bad because it wasted an opportunity to do something interesting. Rebirth is bad because it did nothing. It's a nothing movie. In fact, Rebirth is worse than a nothing movie. It's a movie that sent the franchise backwards rather than forwards. Okie dokie. I think this is more or less done. Some you know, foliage placing and stuff to do, but shall we actually do it? Shall we get our Indoraptors the old-fashioned way? Hatchery offline? Why is the hatchery offline? Everything's connected. No path to arrival point. Oh, I see. There we go. Don't hold back, Fletcher. Join the dark side. Two? I think two. Not bad. let the hate flow. Go away, Henry Wu. Can't believe you were given a good ending in Dominion as well. You deserve to be eaten. You should have died in that movie. I don't have a problem. Just think certain characters should have died in that movie. And that smug, arrogant git should have been one of them. I don't have a problem, just very strong opinions. Exactly. I have very strong opinions that I'm willing to defend to the hilt. Giganotosaurus should have eaten as punishment for stalking and harassing. Oh, I see. I say they should have done what the FNAF movie did and gotten like a big, you know, gotten Swerve to come and be part of the film, and then we could have seen him be eaten. And then whenever we were feeling bad, we could have just watched that scene on repeat, and we would have felt better. I know I would have. Excellent. Hello, Rob. Hello, Colt. It's a very busy day in chat today. I still think the Jurassic Park Operation Genesis... I still think the J-Pog's Acrocanthosaurus is the superior Acrocanthosaurus. Now, the only hybrid we don't currently have in the park is Spinoraptor, but I don't really want to go and use any of this area over here just for a Spinoraptor enclosure. I have T-Birds, but I will go over my thoughts again. I was surprised about Chasmosaurus and Mutabura. I would have thought those two would have been cut. Maiasaura is probably the only species that has been 100% confirmed from the moment they announced babies were showing up, because they would never have babies and not have Maiasaura, because if they did, that would just be weird. And what else got confirmed? I'm missing a couple, aren't I? Spinoceratops was a given. But yeah, Chasmosaurus I think is the biggest surprise. Spinoraptor is too dangerous to have a kind of open style enclosure like this for the Ankylo, the Stegoceratops. We are missing Australian representation. I'm just surprised because I thought they were going to cut Chrono and Mutter and make an Australian pack with other species. That's what I would have done. Kairu thinks I'm going to put Scorpius Rex in my hybrid section of the park. I love your optimism, Kairu. Scorpius Rex will be the one species I will not ever have in my parks. I refuse to have that awful, ugly waste of pixels in my parks. I don't like the hybrids, but there is a place reserved in hell for the person that developed the the Scorpius Rex. Okay, we are going to have to make utilization of a part of this for Spinoraptor, which is fine, as overrated as the animal is. The rest of this will just be mountains. something like that. Gasp says Evolution Square. I think Spinoraptor... This is what I would have done for Jurassic World Evolution 3. I would have changed the Spinoraptor to be Spinosaurus and Utahraptor, and given the Spinoraptor feathers and the Spinosaurus frill. That way, it would look a bit better than just an oversized raptor with a little bit of a frill. That's what I would have done. Also, then, that way we wouldn't have yet another animal that uses Velociraptor. Like, how many fucking hybrids are going to use Velociraptors? I mean, for goodness sake. There are so many dinosaurs in the flipping canon of the game, and you just keep using Velociraptor. Like, come on. Let's have some more herbivore hybrids. Let's have some more interesting carnivore combinations. So much emotion. Yeah, sorry. I know I have a reputation for being very harsh about Jurassic and this game especially. But it's not because I genuinely don't like it. It's just because I think there's a lot of missed potential. It's the annoyance of the missed potential that is what gets me so irate. If Frontier just focused a little bit more on certain aspects and a little bit less on pleasing the film boy fanboys, and a little bit more on listening to the part of the community. Basically, they need to shut up and listen to Evo. That's what I would say Frontier needs to do. Frontier just should shut up and listen to what Evo has to say, because Evo is the person who plays the game as the game should be played, you know. I know I'm going to annoy some people with this, but I fundamentally do believe that you can play a game wrong. Or at least you can play a game in a way that was not intended for it to be played in that way, or not in the spirit of which it was intended to be played. And it frustrates me more and more that Frontier seem to listen to those people more than people like Evo, who actually play the game as it's meant to be played, you know. Building your own parks, not just always coming up with some discount wannabe of Jurassic World, for example. Frontier are never going to listen to me. I mean, my opinion is never going to be important to them. Although we'll see what happens after next Saturday. It's when I show up in my Triclaw Gaming hat and t-shirt and they're like, ah, you're here. We would like to have a word. And then I get taken out back and beaten up by a bunch of people with baseball bats. I'm not saying the Frontier would ever do that. I'm just saying this is the United Kingdom. And I would be in London, and that's the way people in London do it. They take you out back and they beat you with a cricket bat. Should it be cricket bats? Yeah. You mean slice and dice? Nah, honestly, I'll be surprised if they know of the channel at all. If anyone is from Frontier there, they'll probably go like, oh, you also play our game? I'll be heavily surprised if they even know who we are. Spinoraptor is going to get a very large enclosure, isn't it? Kind of feel bad for the Indoraptors having such a small one, but tough. So Spinoraptor deserves the best. Yes, of course it does. Anyway. And what I want to do is, I think I want to have like this section here be lower than the rest of the paddock. So we can have a waterfall coming off one of these mountains down into like a water area. And then we'll have like the guest viewing from up here, maybe a few viewing towers or something. Like what we've got over here, we'll put some like viewing areas around here. I'm really happy with how this enclosure turned out now that I've put some more vegetation in, some bamboo, some more trees and stuff. This enclosure turned out really well. Say it like you mean it, but I don't mean it. Alright, Evo. Sleep well. Well, that was a bit much. That was not enough. That was still not enough. I think that's just the right amount. See, I think with adding Cenozoics, my opinion would be we can't just have one At a bare minimum, I would argue we need 10. I would argue if you're going to put Cenozoics in Jurassic World Evolution 3, we should have at least 10. I think any less than that, and I just don't think it's worthwhile doing it. Do you think we'll give them a bit more? Yeah. Honestly, I stopped watching update videos for JWE2 because they would always say Frontier. See, I think Frontier do listen, but they listen to a very selective part of the audience. I will be stealing Fletcher enclosure ideas once JWE3 drops. Well, just if, and this is a very big if, I get Jurassic World Evolution 3 when it comes out, I will just be playing the campaign to begin with. I will not be playing Sandbox until I've done the campaign. So take that as like a warning that there might not be that many enclosure ideas, but you know, I'll see what I can do. Now that would work if we do a little bit of, finagling. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. That was my thinking, Kairu. Like, I don't want to build lots of sandbox parks before we have, like, content to fill them out with. Because we all know what happens. They'll launch a day one or month one DLC or whatever. So I kind of just want to play through the campaign and maybe challenge modes and just, I guess, play at a slower pace. One of the things that I think I did wrong with Jurassic World Evolution 2 was I played this game at such a pace, primarily because I thought it was going to help the channel grow, and it didn't. And I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to play it at a slower pace, you know, actually enjoy the campaign. Will there be a JWE stream a day before JW3's launch? That I was going to do a Jurassic World Evolution 1 stream at some point, just so we can see where we all started, I suppose. I think the lack of the... I think it was the lack of the a decent campaign which really threw me off JWE2 from the start. As much as I love building sandbox parks, I am someone who thinks there needs to be a very strong campaign mode in these sort of games. And I remember being very, very surprised that Jurassic World Evolution 2's campaign was so lackluster. Especially when they went, you know, Rich Newbold sat there and gave us a damn lie about it. Oh, it's a unique and compelling narrative campaign. It's not a unique or compelling narrative campaign. You lied to us, Richard. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. Let's get some classic helpful ginkgos going on here. Looks better, doesn't it? Sorry, Chad, what's your question? Oh, what's worse to die, Indoraptor or Megalania? I'm gonna say Megalania because I reckon it would be slower. Just thinking about how modern-day Komodo dragons kill things. I reckon Megalania would... I don't think it would be quick. And what I want to do with this place is I'm going to go for a and then the rest of this will be wood walls. At least the first layer will be wood walls. You might trick the invisible fencing to give these glass wall pieces something that looks like, yeah, you know, some stability. Then we're going to use the old handy concrete plinths. Then we're going to put down in front of this just a layer of low bushes. Like thus. Then we're going to put in a layer of low angled fence. Tell you one thing I think they have done with Jurassic World Evolution 3, and I think some people are not going to like it. I think they might have cut Carcharodontosaurus. I think Carcharodontosaurus has been cut. I suspect potentially so that they could do a redesign. I think Karkaro and Deinonychus would definitely both benefit from a redesign. And I would go as far as to say that I don't think the Deinonychus needs to change too much. I actually quite like the tadpole tail and the basilisk frills. I think what actually needs to happen with Deinonychus is I just think it needs I think it just needs not fully feathers, but I think it could do with just having a few maybe feathered arms or a feathered crest. Something feathered. So like it's kind of a halfway between the fully feathered Utah and the not feathered at all Velociraptor or Trociraptor, whichever one of those you use the most often. Acro I think looks fine. I don't think it looks as good as JPOG's, but it's not like awful. Karkaro, I think, definitely needs a complete redesign. I think the car has always looked bad. Ever since the days of Jurassic World Evolution 1, I thought the car looked just off. And I don't think Evolution 2 helped by giving it, well, skins that made it look like it was ill and had the plague. That's good. Tell you one thing I do want to see with the dinosaur designs in E3, and that is I want to see more interesting patterning and more interesting colors. Because I feel that at the moment the dinosaur patterns are all very safe, for want of a better term. I want to see some designs with a bit more imagination. Hmm. Is it this way around? The basic? Okay. Hmm? Okay. Hmm. Oh, that Morgan Freeman documentary. I could only make it through the first one. I was like, good God, this is bad. Something like that. Just trying to think about something to do to give this area a bit more pizzazz. I'm not sure I like that. Maybe just do like make the glass bigger. Just make it wider. See people talking about walking with dinosaurs and stuff. Reminds me I really must get on to starting to make my walking with dinosaurs retrospective, but oh, that's gonna take a long time. I meant to actually do the planning when Fallout was here, but you know, stuff happens. I got distracted. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad. There we go. I love Gorgonopsids. I don't know why we don't have one already in game, because like they're basically Indoraptors. Like you could use the Indoraptor rig for a Gorgonopsid, more or less, or something else with that sort of similar gait. One of the Ankylosaurus rigs would have worked for that. It's a bit messy here, but I can live with that. Yeah, that's something with a little bit more interest to it, I think. You know, just for additional safety, and because I love the fact that Kyodenic made them separate, I'm gonna put some big old spiky traps in front of the windows. Okay. Now, if you then try to do like a... That's... about that, and let's make this circle. And then inside here, I think we'll give it a posh path. Ow, that clicking was my knuckles. Ouch. Mmm. There's a name I haven't heard in a while. Dino Crisis. Classic game, Dino Crisis. Well deserving of a remaster, I think. Okay, and then like over here, what I would probably do is put like maybe a large restaurant amenity. Actually, before I go, Science viewing tower. Right, viewing tower. Yeah. I like that. I think this is gonna be quite a nice area once it's finally finished. Cool. Well, we're coming up to the end of the stream, so I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to like the stream if you haven't done already. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to join the Discord if you want to come and, chat and join. I occasionally stream in the Discord in there, or I'm in the voice chat in there, so if you want to chat or whatever, you can come and find me in there. I think we got a decent amount done. I mean, the Indoraptor enclosure is pretty much basically completed. There's one Indoraptor. Where's Indoraptor number 2? Oh, there it is. They're both there. So yeah, we got this pretty much completed. Just a little bit more decorating work to do and some stuff to do around here so I can make it look good. And then finish the Spinoraptor enclosure. And then basically this park is done in terms of animals, and it's just decoration, buildings, and, filling in the white areas, which are all going to be gardens and stuff like that. Putting in some fountains and some other decorative elements, benches, seating, and the rest, and basically then this park will be completely finished. So yeah, this is oh, I need to put the T-Rex back in here, obviously. Might not put T-Rex back in here. I might go for something else, maybe Albertosaurus instead. I mean, there's no reason why it has to be a T-Rex, so maybe Albertosaurus in here. Or Metriacanthosaurus or Megalo, something smaller maybe. I mean, everything down here is basically fully completed, as is the aviary section. So yeah, this side of the park, decorative wise, the staff zone needs to be done, and then the hybrid side, and then it'll be finished and ready for a park tour. So yeah, it's gonna look good. Scorpius is not going in the park, but we might do Suko. I might put Suko in here, actually. That's a good bet. I'll think about it. But yes, I'm going to save. And can't wait to see it bustling with people. Well, people will never come to this park. I build all my parks as guests off these days. Just guests. We know what happens to guests. Guests just absolutely ruin everything. So they will never come to the park. But yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. I will see you on Sunday for some more of this build. We'll get the Spinoraptor enclosure finished. And yeah, I will see you then. So, until next time, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Stay safe, and good night.